everyone, and welcome back to the 9th episode of the SenoTalk. Today I have invited Christian, our operations manager, into the studio, and we will be talking about cannabis analysis and how the SenoLab can make it more convenient and more affordable for pharmacies, dispensaries and growers. Let's see whether Christian is in the studio yet. Hi Christian, how are you?
I'm very fine, thank you Valerie, and I hope you are too. And thanks for inviting me to the studio today.
You are very welcome. I'm really looking forward to hear some more about our latest use case, the analysis of cannabis. We were actually recently featured on German television, where we already talked some more about cannabis analysis. I will make sure to post the link for this report in the video description. But for the viewers that have not seen that report, could you maybe say what exactly do we mean when we talk about the analysis of cannabis?
Yes, so when we talk about the analysis of cannabis, it's mainly about the identification and the quantification of the content levels of the most important cannabinoids in the cannabis flowers, which are THC and CBD. The THC is psychoactive and creates the high headspace, which many users describe. And the CBD has more a calming effect and is also used in beauty products, for example. Both ingredients appear in different potencies, depending on the strain and the growing conditions. And that's why it's so important to measure and analyze the THC and CBD content in the cannabis flowers over the whole value chain, from the grower to the consumer, especially for medical cannabis.
Okay, and how are THC and CBD levels currently determined? Are there any downsides to current methods?
Yes, so there's different possibilities. The first possibility, which is mainly used, is to send the samples to the labs. But as you can imagine, it takes quite long until you get your results, which is a couple of days usually. The results are quite precise, but of course you pay for every sample tested, so there's a limit to the number of samples you can test. The other possibility is to do the tests by your own, but you will need to buy the very expensive lab devices and you need the specialists to do the data analysis. There's another possibility, which is to use rapid tests, similar to the COVID-19 tests, which everyone knows. But those tests only test whether there is CBD or THC present in the sample, but they do not say anything about the content. So especially for non-professionals, like the patients, the dispensaries, or even the recreational users, they don't have any good possibility to do any content tests, at least not on their own.
That's very interesting. And so why would it be better to know the exact THC and CBD content of cannabis flowers?
That depends very much on the use case. As you know, cannabis is a natural product, so the content of the cannabinoids, it varies from flower to flower, from batch to batch, and so on. With our device, growers could much better control their harvest and their growing conditions and increase the quality of their products.
Okay, so you've just explained how knowing the THC and CBD content of cannabis flowers would benefit growers. What about other institutions? Would it benefit pharmacies or dispensaries?
Yes, of course. The pharmacies currently mainly do consistency checks with the rapid tests, which I mentioned before. With our device, they could reduce the testing efforts considerably and also the waste. In contrast, measuring the content of the cannabinoids is currently not so important for the pharmacies, as the medical market, especially in Germany, is very strictly regulated. But with progressing legalization, as we currently see it on the horizon, we expect that the number of strains and sources and samples will strongly increase, and with that also the need for better quality control. Additionally, in countries where cannabis is still illegal, police and customs need to send the samples to labs when they want to know anything about the cannabinoid contents in those samples. So a quick and simple solution to determine the THC and CBD contents would be very valuable for them, especially when authorities decide to set specific THC limits, like it's currently discussed in Germany, for example. For the same reason, recreational customers, for example in Colorado or in the Netherlands, they might want to check the cannabinoid contents in their samples. Our device would enable them to get information about the flowers directly at the point of sale. So in summary, the benefits are really manifold and across the whole value chain.
That makes a lot of sense. It's actually quite impressive how broad the possibilities and the advantages are. Maybe you could say a few more words about how exactly Senorics can help to determine THC and CBD levels.
Yes, with our device, you can determine the percentage of the THC and the CBD in the sample. It's very simple. You just take the flower, place it on the device, press the button, and you will immediately receive the result within a matter of seconds. The sample is also not destroyed, like for example for the lab tests which use chemical methods. So you can still use the sample afterwards. The device is really simple to operate and it's much more affordable than any other solution.
I have to say it all sounds pretty amazing to me. Can you give any information about current projects and customers?
Well, of course, most of the information is still quite confidential, so I cannot tell every detail. But what I can say is that we are cooperating with a renowned German university and also other national and international institutions. We have already conducted more than 400 measurements up to now, and there's for sure more information that I can share within the next coming months.
Thanks for sharing this little insight with me and with our viewers. Maybe we can organize another episode later in the year when you can share some more concrete information. For now, I actually only have one last question. I'm wondering, what is your favorite use case when it comes to the SenoLab and its many possibilities?
So my favorite use case is to analyze wood types, especially in boards and planks. So I just had a situation yesterday in my private workshop where I sorted different boards for my next project and had mixed all the boards, and I was wondering whether the one or the other board was birch or hazelnut or chestnut, and I could not remember anymore. In those situations, I would like to take my phone, place it on the board, press the button, and know exactly what it is.
I like that very much. I have to say, everyone's use cases are always so inventive and useful. It's quite nice to listen to people's ideas about that. And with that, we're actually at the end of our episode. Thank you so much for joining me in the studio today, Christian, and I hope you'll have a lovely day.
Thank you, Valerie, and thanks for having me in the studio today, and I hope you will also have a pleasant day.
And thanks to everyone who has watched the 9th episode of the SenoTalk. Make sure to check the box below the video for some more information and current blog articles. Make sure to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any further episodes. And if you have any questions, just email us at inquiry@senorics.com. And I'm looking forward to the next episode. Have a good day.